friends, it's Miss Drywa. How are you today? So we're still talking about the solar system this week in science, and we're going to continue talking about it all of summer. We're going to go through all our planets, the moon, dwarf planets. It's really interesting stuff, friends, and we're going to learn a lot of facts about the planets and how they're different and how they're the same. So today we're going to be focusing on our first planet closest to the sun. And now last week, you guys put them all in order. So right now you should be thinking about which planet it is. But let's get started. So when we look at our planets, remember, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 planets, including Earth right here that we live on. So we live on this planet. But in our solar system, there are so many other things that we've already talked about. We have the sun, which is not a planet. It's actually this giant star, which is super cool. And then we have other items in our solar system, like besides the planets, we have the asteroids and the comets, we talked about last week. And then there are moons, and some planets have moons, some planets don't. Some planets only have one moon, some have many, right? So we're going to learn about all that within the next few weeks. Okay, so we're going to go in order though. So remember, we did this last week. We said that my very excited mother just served us nachos. So we're going to start with my, which was for Mercury. Right? And that's what we're going to be focusing on today. So Mercury is our first planet. It is the closest planet to the sun. If you look, it's actually our smallest planet too in our solar system. You can see just by the size of the circle, the planet here, that is not the same size as the rest of these circles that represent the different planets. Actually, looking at this, Jupiter looks like it is our largest planet. It's not as big as our sun though. But Mercury is our smallest planet, but it's still the closest planet to the sun, so it's the first stop. All right, so let's see. So we have, all right, I'm going to move myself down. Okay, so Mercury is about 57 million kilometers away from the sun. So even though it is the closest planet to the sun, it's still very far away. But you're probably thinking, Miss Drywa, what are you talking about? How far is 57 million kilometers? Well, 1 kilometer, so 1 single kilometer, is a little bit more than a half of a mile. So that means 1 kilometer would take the average person about a 12-minute walk. Okay, so if you're walking 12 minutes, not super fast and not super slow, at like an average pace, a normal, relaxing pace, just going for a walk, at about 12 minutes, you'll hit around about a kilometer. Give or take. Now, this Mercury is 57 million kilometers away from the sun. So 1 single kilometer is about a 12-minute walk. 57 million kilometers, that's a lot of 12-minute walks. That's actually 57 million 12-minute walks. I don't know about you, but I do not want to do that walk. I run every morning. Do not want to do that walk. That's very far, friends. Very, very far. So, even though Mercury is the closest planet to the sun, it's not that close. But that just makes you think now, oh my, how much further are these other planets out? And how big is our solar system really? Well, friends, it's very, very big. All right, and our furthest planet, Neptune, which we'll learn about soon enough, is very far away from the sun. Remember, this is like a ball of fire. They can't be too close because then they'll burn up. But Mercury is our closest, so let's read a little bit about Mercury. Me over here. There we go. So Mercury. Mercury is the closest planet to the sun and the smallest of our 8 planets, just like we talked about. It is the closest, but it's also the smallest. It is a little bit larger than our moon. So remember I said last week, we have a moon. Here on planet Earth, we have one moon. You can see it at night when you go outside. Actually, on 4th of July, it was beautiful, that moon. I remember being outside and looking and thinking, wow, it is beautiful out. So our moon is just a little bit smaller than Mercury. And our moon is smaller than our planet. So that just shows you that Mercury is very small compared to the other planets. The side of Mercury that is facing the sun is very hot. So let's go back to our picture here. So this side right here, facing the sun, right, is very, very hot, okay? It can be 800 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, friends, that is super, super hot because we here in New York, our temperatures usually maybe in the summer about 80 degrees Fahrenheit. And I know that can be hot for some people. I know it's hot out when it's 80 degrees. I go outside, I'm like, whew, I need water, I need some shade. Imagine 800 degrees Fahrenheit. That's super hot. The side that is not facing the sun is very cold and can get down to negative 300 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's this side now. The side that faces into the solar system or towards Venus, depending on how they're rotating or orbiting around the sun. Remember, we talked about orbiting around the sun. Here's the sun. Our planets orbit. They go around the sun. Right? So this side can get to 800 degrees, and this side can get down to negative 300 degrees. Now, below zero for us, anything below zero is freezing. That's our freezing point. We talked this when we talk about changes in matter. Right? When we get to 0 degrees, our matter is going to start to freeze. So imagine negative 300 degrees Fahrenheit. That is super cold. We would not even be able to survive that, friends. We could not live on that. So Mercury has no moons. There are no moons for Mercury. 0 moons for Mercury. Okay? Let's look at a picture of Mercury. Here we have a picture of Mercury, right? Now remember, friends, this is taken with one of those fancy like telescopes that have a camera on, and they can get as close as the camera can zoom in as close as possible and get like the best picture. All right, and we have here. So just to give you a fact, because that's what we're focusing on today in your activities, writing facts, it takes Mercury 88 Earth days to orbit the sun completely. So here's our sun, and here's Mercury, and it's going to orbit. It takes about 88 days for it to get back to the starting point. Now the Earth takes 365 days to orbit the sun completely. All right, so the Earth goes a little slower. It's a little further out, farther away. All right, so it takes that. All right, friends. So now we have learned quite a bit about our planet Mercury here. We learned that it's about 57 million kilometers away from the sun. We learned, though, that it is the closest planet. It is the smallest planet, right? We learned that it has no moons. There are no moons for Mercury. And we learned that Mercury can get on one side, the side closest to the sun, up to 800 degrees Fahrenheit. And we learned that on the side furthest from the sun, it can get down to negative 300 degrees Fahrenheit. And we learned that it takes about 88 days to orbit the sun. That's a lot of facts, friends. Now, these are some facts that I want you to remember because we're going to be comparing these facts to other planets. All right? So, make myself big. Good. Okay, so awesome. So, we have learned so many facts. Now, you're going to go off and you're going to take these facts and write them on an organization concept map for you, because you're going to need to use them probably a little bit later on in the week when we start comparing our planets. Because it's pretty interesting how different they can be, and they're all in one solar system, but the planets are so different. They're not the same. We don't have 8 of the same planets, right? that's what makes it so interesting. All right, friends? So great job. And until you see me again tomorrow. Bye.